I'm George Kilpatrick. This is the United Democrats of Onondaga County, and we're joined by Scott Delconte, candidate for State Supreme Court. And if you have questions for Scott, with the time we have, we certainly welcome you to ask your questions right here on Facebook Live. Scott, good to meet you. We have never met before.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. All right, so tell us a little bit about you. You're born and raised here.
I was born in Syracuse, and I grew up in Cicero, attended Cicero North Syracuse High School, and went on to Cornell University.
Yay!
Where I
Go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
My daughter's there now.
My daughter is there too as a freshman. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to talk later. And you could tell we're just meeting for the first time. But yeah, go ahead.
And so I went to Cornell, and I met my wife, Heather Heather Delconte. We've been married 22 years. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went on to law school, and then came back home to Central New York, where I practiced law at Von Jenigan King for 17 years, and opened my own law firm last year. But in addition to that, George, and we were talking earlier, is my wife and I run a family farm.
This is exciting. Let's talk about this. In where now?
In Oswego County. Okay. This year for the Supreme Court, there are 4 open seats. Okay. And in our judicial district, we have a tradition of home rule. And one of those seats is open in Oswego County. And that's a seat that I'm running.
You're running for?
I'm running for the Oswego County seat. Yeah, my wife and I, it's been a lifelong goal of mine to be a farmer. My grandfather was a farmer in North Syracuse. My wife grew up on a family farm. My father-in-law just retired as a professor of agriculture at Cornell.
Okay.
So it's in our blood.
I was going to say, there's a lot of Cornell connection.
There's a lot of Cornell connection here. So we have beef cattle, sheep, and this year we started with honeybees.
Really? Yeah. So I guess I have to ask, do you eat the beef that you raise, or are they just...
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do. But a lot of our animals end up with other 4-H families. These are miniature Herefords, which are about half the size of a standard bred Hereford. And they're sold pretty much all over the Northeast at this point. And a lot of 4-H families are raising these animals. They're all gentle. It's something that we do as a family, George. We get up in the morning together. We take
How early do you get up?
Oh, we're all up probably a little after 5.
Right,
you know?
Right. Which is late, I think, right?
Which is
when I hear farm stories.
Well, the dairy farmers are the
okay. You get a little break.
We get a little break. Ours are not as intense, but the beef animals are a lot of fun. We've done it as a family, and we have so many memories around our animals. We show them at the Oswego County Fair. My kids are very involved in the fair. We've been very, very blessed.
Yeah, I never beef farming in this area. I don't hear that much about it. But is it popular, or is that the word?
There's quite a few, and you find that in sort of the rural counties, there's a lot more beef animals.
I mean, dairy we know. Right?
Dairy, there's quite a bit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's really fascinating. So the family. Are they as excited about it as you are, or you're just saying
that? Absolutely. In fact, my daughter is studying agricultural science. So, I mean, a lot of doors open. I mean, someone told me once when the kids were very small, they said, if you raised your children with animals, you'll have caring, thoughtful children. And I think that's really true. I mean, it's been fantastic.
That's amazing. So talk to us about why you think you're ready for the Supreme Court.
Yeah, my entire legal career has been in the Supreme Court, representing clients from all different walks of life. I mean, representing Fortune 500 companies and small businesses and families and churches. And, I'm ready to take that step from advocating to deciding cases. And I believe it's so important that we have judges who are independent, who decide cases just on the facts of the law, not letting any outside influences come into the courtroom. That's the kind of judge I'll be.
You're president of the Oswego Bar?
Past president. Past president of the Oswego County Bar Association.
And so what other kinds of legal positions have you held?
Well, very involved in the Bar Association. I was named to the 2008 Super Lawyers List, which recognizes less than 5% of the lawyers in the state. In this campaign, I'm very fortunate to have humbled to have received the highest ratings from the Oswego County, Onondaga County, and the United County Bar Associations. And my career, my focus has always been in civil litigation. The other thing too is I'm really fortunate to have served as the chancellor and general counsel to the United Methodist Church.
Yeah.
The annual conference throughout Central New York, where we have, I serve as general counsel. We roughly 850 churches, 1,200 clergy, and various issues across Central New York.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have a lot of varied interests.
We've had a lot of fun practicing law over the years, and I really enjoy practicing law. But again, I'm ready to take that next step.
Yeah, and you, like you said, you're running. I should let. Oh, I think. Do I have a question? Oh, somebody's saying good luck. Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
By the way, if you have a question, with the little time we have left, for Scott Delconte, candidate for State Supreme Court, for the Oswego slot, if you will, right? Is that what you're telling me?
That's right. Yeah. We have stuck with a gentleman's rule to home rule in our district, and I will be running for that Oswego slot.
Yeah, and so you also been involved, I guess, working with unions, or you've been endorsed by some of them?
I have been endorsed by a number of labor unions. Very humbled to have the support of the hardworking men and women of the Teamsters 317, the Central New York Building and Trades, the St. Lawrence and Jefferson County Trades Association, the United Auto Workers. Their support means everything. I mean, it's wonderful to have the support of labor in this race.
What kind of judge will you be?
Hardworking judge, fair, determined, and at the end of the day, I mean, I've won and lost the cases. Okay, but when you lose a case,
how tough is that?
It's tough. I mean, it's real. But at the end of the day, when you lose a case and you know that the judge has read all the papers, thought through all the issues, spent the necessary time, and treated everybody fairly, and given you an opportunity, that's all you can ask for as a lawyer, and that's the type of judge I'll be.
You want to see yourself as someone who'll be fair and equitable, representing all the sides.
Fair and honest.
Or giving everybody an opportunity.
Absolutely. And, as a practicing lawyer, we know how tough it is to be in the courtroom all the time, and the challenges and the stresses and the strains. And as a judge, I won't forget that. And it's really important that judges understand how difficult it is on both lawyers and litigants in the courtroom. I mean, there's a lot on the line when you get to the Supreme Court. Those are generally significant civil cases. For those litigants, it may be their first and only time in a courtroom, and most of the time, the stakes are very high, very high. And I want to be a judge who is responsive, hardworking, attentive, courteous, and respectful.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you would hope, right? In terms of your other interests outside of the law, I understand that you have, in addition to farming, what are some of the other things that you do as a person?
Well, as a family, we're very interested in Civil War history. We've taken a number of trips to Gettysburg. My family loves Gettysburg. Every time we're down there, we learn something else, not just about the battle, but about the people and understanding who we come from. And there's so many rich stories in our history. We love local history, too. And there's a lot of great local history in Oswego County and throughout northern New York. So we do a lot. I do a lot of history reading. I hunt. I fish. If I'm not in the office, you'll catch me outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
And gardening, I understand as well.
Yes.
You always say we, so this is a family. They run into. They're giving you permission.
Yes, they absolutely. They are, because they've been there every step of the way. Without the support of my wife and the kids, I couldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. They've been absolutely fantastic.
How many kids? You said
four children.
Okay, and what were their ages?
17, 15, 13, and 12.
Okay, so
right, one in college and two in the high school and one in the Oswego Middle School.
That's amazing. And again, this is part of your homegrown, right? And so this is partly what you're emphasizing here in terms of your candidacy.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think having a judge who is from the area, who knows the community, knows the community values, is so critically important. Having the life experiences are you can't. There's a lot that happens in the courtroom that's not just found in the law books. We had a fantastic judge in Oswego County, a retired Supreme Court judge who had 11 kids. And people would say, if you have 11 children, you know how to resolve disputes. It's pretty good.
Well, it's so funny because 4 kids, I have 4, so I understand that. as well. Although you seem to, how you balance being a farmer and being a practicing attorney and and hopefully in your case being a judge. That's a lot on the table, a lot on the plate.
Two things. First, if you love what you do, you find the time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Second, my wife is absolutely fantastic. She handles so many of the logistics and scheduling, and she keeps us all on track. So without her, I don't know even if I made it down to this interview, George. So yeah, I'm very blessed.
Yeah. So when you look at your background and others who are running in the race, I mean, why do you stand out, do you think?
Well, I think there's two things. First, my experience in the Supreme Court,
Mm-hmm.
and the practice I've had, and then second, my personal, my backstory and my personal integrity. And you know, there are other fantastic candidates in the race, and I just encourage voters to look at every candidate closely. And voters have to make up their mind as to who they want. It's an important decision because the term is 14 years.
14 years.
14 years. So it's a generational issue. You know, we need to get this one right.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we're having this conversation is so that the voters can get an opportunity to meet you and make their decision about who you are and what you're hoping to do as a jurist. Am I saying that right? As a jurist and what that means. So you have one last opportunity to convince those individuals watching that they should cast your vote.
Well,
cast their vote for you.
Yeah, I asked for your support on November 6th, and I appreciate all of the work and effort for those who are supporting my campaign, and we're looking forward to Election Day and what comes next, George. Thank you very much.
All right, that's Scott Delconte, candidate for State Supreme Court. Remember to vote on November the 6th. And Scott, we wish you good luck.
Thanks, George. Thank you so much.
Go Big Red.